Covenant University Anthem. Thank you. Please, we may take our seat. The Chancellor, we'd like to establish the protocol for this 10th Convocation Lecture that we're going to be having very shortly. The Chancellor and Chairman Board of Regents, Covenant University, Dr. David Oyedepo, the Vice President, Education of the Living Faith Church Worldwide, Pastor Mrs. Faith Oyedepo, esteemed members of the Board of Regents here present, the Vice Chancellor, Covenant University, Professor Charles Ayo, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Covenant University, Professor Taiwo Abioye, the Registrar of the University, Dr. Olumuyiwa Olodayo, our Convocation Lecturer here seated, other principal officers of Covenant University, our deans of colleges and School of Postgraduate Studies, eminent professors here present, staff and faculty of Covenant University, distinguished guests and special invited guests here present, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, the class that we are here to witness their convocation, the admirable set, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. At this point, we'd like to introduce some persons that are on the high table. I will start by introducing the chaplain that gave us the opening prayer. Can I recognize Pastor Omidiora, the chaplain of Covenant University? We also have the Director of Financial Services, Pastor Deji Okubanjo. We have our Director of Center for Learning Resources, what other universities will call the library, Dr. Chris Nkiko. Yesterday night, we were treated to a meal that cannot be forgotten. All the way from London, can we recognize Pastor David Oyedepo Jr.? We like to recognize our deans here present, the Dean, College of Science and Technology, in the person of Professor Shalom Chinedu. We also have our Dean, College of Engineering, here present, Professor Lutu. Professor Olorola is the Dean, College of Business and Social Sciences. And what a joy we have Professor Isaac Obayon here, Dean, College of Leadership Development Studies. Professor Charles Ogbulogo is the Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies. Can I recognize the Registrar of Covenant University, Dr. Olumuyiwa Olodayo? We also have the Deputy Vice Chancellor here present, Professor Taiwo Abioye. And of course, our third substantive Vice Chancellor here present, Professor Charles Ayo. I will not take the person that you are seeing in a gown. It will be properly situated in the course of this ceremony. But can I recognize our mother in the house, the Vice President, Education of the Living Faith Church Worldwide, Pastor Mrs. Faith Oyedepo. Before I even say it, you know what to do. Can I, on your behalf, recognize the Chancellor of Covenant University, the Chairman, Board of Regents of Covenant University, Dr. David Oyedepo. Welcome, sir. Please, we may be seated. Thank you. At this point, we'd like to invite our Vice Chancellor to please come and welcome us, Professor Charles Ayo.
The Chancellor and Chairman Board of Regents of Covenant University, Dr. David Oyedepo, the Vice President, Education, Living Faith Church Worldwide, Pastor Mrs. Faith Oyedepo. The guest speaker of today, permit me to stand on the already established protocol. I'm most delighted to welcome you to the Convocation Lecture of the 10th Convocation Ceremony of Covenant University. It's always a delight for me each time I have the opportunity to listen to and learn from Professor Peter OKEBUKOLA, the immediate past Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission. An erudite scholar par excellence, an unbiased umpire, and an incorrigible judge, who, without necessarily preempting him, will present the current trends all over the world, as well as present our scorecard as an institution in our quest towards becoming one of 10 in 10. On this note, without taking much of your time, please sit back, enjoy the lecture, and God bless.
The Chancellor, sir, before we get ourselves into this meal that has been prepared for today, it is only proper that we unveil the guest lecturer for today. May I invite the Dean of the College of Business and Social Sciences, Professor Orinola, to please come and read the citation of the guest lecturer.
The Chancellor, sir, permit me to stand on the established protocols. May I request, oh, it's already standing, and remain standing while I read your citation. Professor Peter OKEBUKOLA was born in Ilesha on February 27, 1951. He had his higher education at the University of Ibadan, where he obtained the bachelor's degree in 1973, followed by master's and PhD degrees in science education in the same university. He had specialized training in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and Harvard University, both in Cambridge, USA. Thank you very much. He now specializes in science, computer, and environmental education. He serves on a number of international organizations as consultants. Such organizations include the UNESCO, the UNICEF, the World Bank, and the UNDP. He is currently the executive president of UNESCO's African Network for Innovations in Higher Education. Thank you. In addition, Professor OKEBUKOLA is noted as the first African to win the prestigious UNESCO Prize for the Communication of Science, the first African fellow and member of the Board of Directors of the International Academy of Education, whose membership is restricted to distinguished professors of education in the world. Is also the first African member of the Executive Board of the International Association for Research in Science Teaching. He is a fellow of the Science Association of Nigeria, as well as fellow and past president of the Science Teachers Education Association of Nigeria and the National Association for Environmental Education. He has won several international and gold medals in science and computer education. I think it deserves another round of applause. This worthy son of Africa has involved in a lot of research efforts which gravitated around the following central themes: computers in education and e-learning, cooperative learning, metacognitive strategies in science education, environmental education, and ecocultural influences on the learning of science concepts. These efforts have resulted in over 190 internationally published works and over 200 national and international conference presentations. Many of these publications can be found in the world's top 10 science education, computer education, and environmental education journals. In fact, when I was checking him up early this morning, the 10 of his first papers generated over 1,000 citations in the Google Scholar. He is the immediate past executive secretary of the National University Commission. He has been pro-chancellor and chairman of council of several universities, including Osun State University, and currently the chairman of council of Crawford University. He has been awarded, thank you, he has been awarded a number of honorary DSc degrees. He is the executive chairman of OKEBUKOLA Science Foundation, which supports quality teaching, learning and research in science and technology. He is the recipient of the National Honor of the Officer of the Order of Federal Republic of Nigeria, OFR. May I therefore request all of us to stand and receive this worthy son of Africa to give this lecture. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Shall we be seated? Chancellor, sir, shall we be seated? Dear Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, Mommy Pastor Faith Oyedepo, principal officers of this great university, we have some visitors among us here. And I tell you, those that have come here new are wondering whether they are in a Nigerian university or in an American university or in Oxford. Yeah, I can see some of them. They are just wondering. I'm honored to deliver the 10th Convocation Lecture of this university. And I'm thrilled because it affords us all another opportunity to confirm that Jesus is a covenant-keeping God. Several years ago, God instructed our Chancellor, Bishop Dr. David Oyedepo, hear the instruction, to set up a university that will be instrumental in lifting African peoples from their downtroddenness poverty, disease, marginalization, and poor leadership. Right before our very eyes, this covenant-keeping God, who was at the time of Abraham, who still is, and evermore shall be, is confirming his faithfulness by the mighty exploits of this university. In less than 13 years, more than any other university in Nigeria, in West Africa, and I'm sure Africa, Covenant University, through its products, has been impacting positively on the development in line with what God envisioned for it, as covenanted with Bishop David Oyedepo. Since his words are yea and amen, 2 Corinthians 1:20, we shall, by the abundance of his grace, be living witnesses to other success stories of CU by 2020 and beyond. Even before the mantra of change filled the air in Nigeria about a year ago, CU has been effecting silent change through the quality of its graduates, who are offering exemplary service in the public and private sector in Nigeria, in Africa, and other parts of the world. Change can be negative. Change can be transient. Change can be illusory or flash in the pan. It can also be positive and sustainable. What we are witnessing with regard to the impact of Covenant University graduates is what I've called sustainable change. Many CU graduates are currently in middle and high-level management positions. 10 or so years from now, or less, they will have moved up the ladder in top management in the public and private sector, and at the political level in Nigeria, be governors of states, members of state and federal legislatures, and president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, then we will see sustainable change in governance and rapid elevation of the African race to high global heights. In all of this, we give glory to God for his promises fulfilled, and thank all those who have allowed themselves to be used positively by God to achieve the purpose of CU. Standing tall in the list is our daddy, Bishop David Oyedepo, and our mama, Pastor Faith Oyedepo. They have allowed themselves to be used by God, and God will continue to bless them abundantly. God will give them long life, good health in his service. Also, members of the Board of Regents, Senate, indeed staff, all students of the university. I wish to acknowledge the contributions of Professor Isaac Obanya, who for 7 positively eventful years steered the ship of CU as one of the most successful vice chancellors in Africa. And Professor Charles Ayo, the current vice chancellor, who has brought a freshness of vision to governance of CU through his innovative, creative, and inspiring leadership. Of course, like I said, all of you, staff and students, you have been all part of the success story. And also your parents, you are worthy of our appreciation. We'll continue to back you up in prayers for greater successes in the years to come. Now to an anecdote which will ease us gently into the theme of this lecture. I was here about 5 weeks ago, and I had a chat with Professor Alvin Elliott Roth, a 2012 Nobel Prize winner in economic sciences. He delivered the keynote address at the second ICARI conference here. The conversation went like this. I asked him, "Is this your first time in Nigeria?" Professor Roth said, "Yes, it is. It is a lovely country you have here. Then I asked him, when did you arrive? Actually, just last night, barely a few hours ago. Then I asked him, what is your impression of Covenant University? And he said, it is a university with outstanding promise to lead the world in shorter time than people will imagine. Then I asked him, when are you back? When are you going back to the US? And he said, I'm leaving for the airport soon. I have classes to teach tomorrow. 2 lessons struck me immediately. One is the endorsement of Covenant University by a Nobel laureate. Second is the high differential between the commitment of a typical Nigerian academic to work and that of an academic from a North American or European university. The typical Nigerian academic who has been invited to a distant land will hardly care about rushing back to catch up with his or her lectures. Some shopping, sightseeing, and extra days, lobbying for sabbatical or other appointments will engage his or her time. The students in Nigeria can wait. Their lectures can be rescheduled and crammed into a few hours on return. The University of Administration may not be aware of the overseas travel of the academic, and of course they will care less about sanctioning. The students, of course, are happy about the free time they have, which they will spend enjoying themselves. At the end of the course, the students are poorly prepared as graduates, and the entire Nigerian university system would be the worse for it. Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the 10th convocation lecture of this university should be on a topic that goes beyond the Nigerian context. I give 4 justifications for this. Covenant University has spread its wings of impact far beyond Nigeria and West Africa, and its footprint is firmly stamped all over Africa. So a convocation lecture for its 10th set of graduates should be framed around a topic that concerns the African higher education system. Proverbs 22:29 says, "Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings, shall not stand before mean men." Covenant University has been diligent in his business, and it should therefore stand before kings in Africa. Second, our research group has empirically proved that Covenant University, listen to this, has as a measure, is an indicator in higher education, has the highest rate of growth, ROG, in Africa for its age. Rate of growth has several elements, including rate of increase of quality infrastructure. Anytime I come into these premises, 1 or 2 buildings are coming up. Before you look again, a few weeks, buildings are coming up. And these are not just ordinary buildings. These are top class, buildings. Indeed, if somebody slept here in Covenant University and transported to some of our universities in Nigeria, and you wake up there, you wonder whether you are in a roadside primary school. But thank God, Covenant University is setting the pace. So I'm talking about rate of growth, the increase of quality infrastructure, that the number of quality staff, and quality students. I'm happy to tell you, even if you don't know, you can't see yourself in the mirror. I'm your mirror, I'm telling you. You have very high quality staff in this university, and of course, high quality students. And then the number of quality graduates. Did you know that some 2 years ago, we did a survey, a research group, checking with employers, public and private, and we found that the maybe top 10, top 5 private employers, global private employers. Let me take McKinsey, for instance, global private employers. If you look at the population of graduates from other universities, that of Covenant is about 10 times others. So that's an indication of how good you are. The Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, is represented here. there is the presidential, you all know this, you all know the story. You know you are good, also. So, I will thank God for that. Thirdly, no university in West Africa, and only a little number, minuscule, all over Africa, has been able to attract 3 Nobel Prize winners to offer lecturing service within a 2-year period, with a plan to sustain such program in the coming years, as Covenant University has done. These are empirical, not conjectural, not prejudicial, not sentimental. You were able to get 3 Nobel Prize winners in 2 years. Check out that university. They are even afraid to touch the Nobel Prize winners. So congratulations. So the 10th Convocation Lecture of such a university should actually address a global topic. But since one of the agenda of the university is to produce graduates who will liberate, in quotes now, the black man from shackles of oppression, a topic that is themed around Africa will not be too off the mark. So fourthly, Covenant University is on course to achieve its vision by the special grace of God of becoming one of the best universities in the world by 2022. Will this happen? Yes, yes, and yes. My source of confidence is the supersonic speed at which the university is overtaking many well-known older universities in Africa on the league table of global ranking of universities. Also, we, all of us, we have faith in God, who has promised us the attainment of this goal. Hebrews 11:1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We have not seen it, but we believe, for with God all things are possible. The topic, as you are all aware, is higher education and Africa's future, doing what is right. There are 3 strands to the lecture. The first is, we'll look at the importance of quality higher education to Africa's future. The next, what are the obstacles on our way? We will identify these obstacles, and then we'll see how these obstacles can be pulled down. And the third is lessons that Africa can learn from the experience of Covenant University. Africa's future, what is it about? Africa's future is what we envision it to be. All our leaders, 54 of them, assembled in the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, and they came up with what is known as Agenda 2063. Agenda 2063 is where all our leaders, representing all of us, about 1.1 billion people in Africa, what we want to be in 2063. What is this agenda about? There are 7 aspirations. I will take one of the aspirations and expand on it very slightly, and then the others I'll just mention the titles of these aspirations. Aspiration number 1 for Africa, 2063. A prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. Hear what all our leaders signed on to. We aspire that by 2063, Africa shall be a prosperous continent with the means and resources to drive its own development, and where 1, African people have a high standard of living and quality of life, sound health, and well-being. Well-educated citizens and skills revolution underpinned by science, technology, and innovation for a knowledge society. 3, cities and other settlements are hubs of cultural and economic activities with modernized infrastructure, and people have access to all the basic necessities of life, including shelter, water, sanitation, energy, public transportation, and ICT. Economies that are structurally transformed to create shared growth, decent jobs, and economic opportunities for all. That's aspiration number one. Aspiration number two is on integrated continent, politically united. Number three is good governance. Number four relates to peace and security in Africa. Number five is on strong cultural identity. 6, Africa-wide development is people-driven. 7, and the last one, Africa as a strong, united, and influential global player and partner. All these aspirations can never be achieved if higher education, quality higher education, is not plugged into the equation. So that's the heart of the matter of this lecture. We're saying that without quality higher education, this vision for Africa 2063 can hardly be attained. Let's look at higher education in Africa. Higher education, here defined as education after secondary. In the case of Nigeria, let's say after our SS3. And we're clustering around universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. All over Africa, there are, as I speak with you today, data released by the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, 2014, that's the latest that they've got, 2,302 of such institutions in the continent. And 6.2 million students are enrolled in the African higher education system. About 40% of those enrolled are women. So the ladies, you have not done too badly. Less than 20%, about a fifth, are enrolled in science, engineering, and technology. Unfortunately, we contribute just about 3% to the global literature in scholarship. We have a handful of Nobel Prize winners. South Africa, Egypt, and we have one in Nigeria. And we are sure that the next one from Nigeria will come from where? Absolutely, by God's special grace. A covenant keeping God. The gross enrollment ratio, might have pronounced that word, the students. I pronounce it as gross, not gross. There are a few things I should let you know too. You see, when you have this word, this word B-O-M-B is bomb. Bomb, the B sounds. But when anything now follows the B, like B-O-M-B-I-N-G, that B is now silent. You swallow that B, the second B. So it's bombing. Our students, can you say that? Yeah. So suicide bomber, not suicide bomber. Students, suicide what? Bomber, very good. Yeah. And talking about that silent B, where you have some challenge with your toilet, water reticulation, and so on, you say, some people will say, go call me the plumber. That second B, that B is silent. So what should it be? Call me who? Plumber. Very good. Yeah, first class students. So the gross enrollment rate for Africa is 6.8, rather low. And I've provided some statistics regarding the distribution all over the continent. Now let me share with you 12 things that are happening as we speak, as we are in this hall, happening with regard to higher education in Africa. There are several things happening, but the top 12 things. One is the African Quality Assurance Framework. In Nigeria, we have the National Universities Commission that has set up some minimum standards. Accreditors will come armed with a checklist of what you have for staff, for students in terms of ratios, staff in terms of ratios, your classrooms, your library holdings, and all of that. They check you like that. That's for Nigeria. You go to Ghana, they have their own. You go to South Africa, they have their own. The Francophone countries, that's countries that use French as official language, about 19 of them, they formed a consortium called CAMES. They have established a common standards. The East Africans have come together, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, they have come together under the East African Higher Education Community. They have established a standard that will let all graduates passing through any university in East Africa have almost like the same kind of training. So Africa is now trying to set up one across the continent where you're going to have minimum standards. That's not going to be less than what you have in Europe and North America. We don't want to play second fiddle. So in a little while, we will be having the equivalent of the National Universities Commission regionally. Region means the whole of Africa. So for Covenant University, of course, you can, NUC will come, you do the accreditation, you can have NUC accreditation in your pocket. Then you can then get Africa. The African, the thing is going to be set up sometime next year. Come to Covenant University and accredit you. When you are accredited, your standing now goes beyond the national, goes beyond the professional bodies of medicine, of engineering, and all of that, to the regional, Africa regional. We're also trying to set up, by the way, there is the equivalent of the National Universities Commission in the US. It's called the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. It's an umbrella body that takes on all the accreditors within that country. That organization has set up what is known as the CHAIR, Council for Higher Education Accreditation is CHAIR. They've set up the CHAIR International Quality Group. So the CHAIR International Quality Group, we're also moving in the direction where we're going to have something that is global. By the way, just on the side, I happen to have been elected the president of that global stuff last January. So Covenant University, you can take NUC accreditation, take that of engineering people, accounting people, and all of that locally. You can also then subscribe to the regional one, and then at some point subscribe to the global one. But that means your standards will have to keep going up. So that's been set up. Then the other one is the African Higher Education and Research Space. Research people, researchers who, those who are carrying out research in Covenant University. By the way, just on the side too, people will say researches. Nothing wrong with that. But the better one is research. Plural as research, as a conglomeration of research in a particular area. So there's been established what is called the AHERS, African Higher Education and Research Space. That is happening about now. Hopefully by next year, the framework will be finally approved at the level of the African Union. That one will let researchers from different parts of Africa be able to talk with themselves, share experiences, share methodologies, share resources, and so we're going to have better research output from the continent. The other one is the Pan-African University. This is a new setup. New will mean just about a year and a half too old, a university for the whole of Africa. It has, as I speak, 5 centers. It is located in it has 5 locations. We have one in Nigeria, one in South Africa, Cameroon. There are the consortium forming that university. It's going to expand later. Then the African Credit Transfer System. African Credit Transfer System is somebody leaves University of Nairobi, wants to come here. We're establishing a system whereby credits are transferable. There's a convention, it's called the Arusha Convention, updated last year to what Addis Ababa Convention to facilitate mobility of staff and students across the African higher education system. We have the LMD reforms for the Francophone countries, and there are a growing number of, that's number 6 now, growing number of national quality assurance agencies of all regions of the world. Africa is the one that is having the highest rate of the establishment of quality assurance, national quality assurance agencies, like the National Universities Commission and all of that. The African Quality Rating Mechanism. You know, When people cite the Webometrics ranking, cite the academic ranking of world universities or Times Higher, yes, we also are trying to establish what we call the rating mechanism. The preliminary work has been done, the instrumentation has been finalized, we have done the pilot run, and everything is good to go. So in a little while, maybe next year, I think the thing will go into full swing. That is quality, rating ourselves, quality. They will have the African Quality Assurance Network. That's the network of all quality assurance agencies. And several others. Time will not permit me to let you have this, but you will find these in the paper. 12 things, 12 very important things. But what challenges? What are these challenges? How did we derive them? We didn't just sit down and say, okay, this must be the challenges. What we did in the last 6 months, we actually had an earlier study. Shabani and OKEBUKOLA global. I mean, we did some regional study. But in the last 6 months, we had to expand it. That was like a pilot. We had to expand it. All over Africa, surveyed students, surveyed teachers, surveyed everybody, parents and all that. We want to find out what are the challenges facing higher education in Africa. And we ask them to rank them. So I'll go through very quickly 1, 2, 3, and the last, and we'll press on. I'm going to refer to it as I close the lecture. The first one, that those that we surveyed, and it has regional spread, it has cluster spread, is depreciating quality of higher education teachers. We are saying that, people are saying that our teachers are not as good as they used to be. The new ones coming are not as good. The second one is inadequacies in the facilities. You go to an African university and you find that the facilities are deplorable, they are not modern, they are not well maintained. So facilities for quality teaching and research, rather not good. Number 3 is the poor attitude of students to work. This regional problem. The fourth one is curriculum inadequacies to impart 21st century skills. Research capacity deficit is number 5. Poorly prepared students for the secondary level is number 6. They are saying that those that are coming from the secondary to the university are getting worse and worse and worse by the day. So you are getting poor quality entrance from the secondary level. The other is a slow adoption of ICT. 8 is management inefficiencies. 9, incidentally, 9 is put as inadequate funding. Unlike previous studies, I would say it's funding as number 1. We're getting it now as number 9, and the 10th one is safety in our university. So doing what is right. So what are the things that we should do right to break down these obstacles? Time will not permit that I take on everything, but I'm going to just select a few of them. Let's take the depreciating quality of higher education teachers. I'm going to describe for you the typical profile as some students and some teachers have given to us. Typical profile of the, when I say typical means if you draw a normal curve, that's somewhere in the middle. So there are some that are better than that, and some that are even worse. So typical profile, that teacher is not up to date with his or her content. You're a professor of biochemistry, professor of plant anatomy or whatever, not up to date with the content. And hardly able to use technology, especially the older ones. I recall, and this is a true story, but many years ago, that was in 1998, we were on a mission in Nairobi, University of Nairobi, and a professor saw Professor Shabani and I working on something. He said, oh, can you help me send an email to somebody? I said, well, no problem. Do you have the person's email address? Oh, yes, I do. Do you have one yourself? No, I don't. Okay, no problem. So what's the message? Say, no. I was told that you can send things as email attachment to people. Oh, yes, we can do that. So you come, it's a professor of history. So you go and bring the material. So the man carry about 3 books and say, look, attach the thing like that to it. True story. There are several of fairly older people who are hardly able to respond rapidly to changes in technology, who are satisfied with reading old notes for students to copy during lectures. Very interesting, one Vice Chancellor from Zimbabwe at the Vice Chancellor, Professor Pimro, somebody, Avisi Crawford will recall that she said it only 3 weeks ago in Kigali, where all the Vice Chancellors in Africa were meeting. He said, many teachers are called yellow pages teachers, yellow pages lecturers. I heard that one for the very first time there. You know, they said their old notes that they used when they were in university is now very yellow. And that's the one they come to read in class. So they call them yellow pages lecturers. And a few others that we have here. So what are the things that are right? We had to ask, the students and the teachers about what things should we do right? What things should teachers who, if we are going to improve teaching, what are the things that they should, what are the attributes that they should possess? Indeed, for all the things I've mentioned, if you get a copy of the lecture, for all those things, we have put online videos of what people suggest that we should do, and also with our ideas. You'll be able to get the links to some of the videos in the book. And I'm going to do a very quick test with my dear Covenant University students. The good attributes of the teacher. Tell me yes or no. If your teachers here, there are 20 of them, but I'm just going to pick maybe 4 or 5. Whether your lecturers here, whether they exhibit, don't be afraid though. They won't know, they are sitting in front, so they won't see you at the back. Yeah. The teacher has deep understanding of the content that he or she is teaching. We have it here? Okay. Uses, I'm skipping some, there are 20 like I said, I just pick a handful. Uses a variety of media in delivering the curriculum. Good. Owns up to what he or she does not understand. Aha. So, only God knows it all. In fact, if you tell your students that, oh, sorry, me I no sabi this one, but I will go and find out, they will respect you more. But they may also not respect you. They will say you are a roadside professor. Yeah, professor, you should know everything. Yeah, but the good teacher should own up to what he or she does not understand. The next one is dresses well. Yeah, I can see, I really can see, you know, they all dress very well. Some students that we surveyed from Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, and Southern Africa claim that their lecturers will just come to class unkempt, not dressed well, shabby. And I've had to go to a number of universities when I was Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission. When I saw, and I was quite harsh on them. You just see some lecturers, you know, just wear T-shirt, just come. I said, no, this is not on. If you go check out one of our videos, you'll see what the president of all the associations of student union, you know, said about it. That the way you are dressed is the way you be addressed. And they will encourage students. One of my children who read medicine, I said, look, son, you go take a PhD in medicine from Johns Hopkins. And he said, yes, sir, I will do that. So he took a PhD from Johns Hopkins, and I said, in medicine. And I said, go and teach in the university. He said, no, no, no. I said, why? He said, all these professors that he's seeing, most of them in University of Lagos, the way they dress, the way they, you know, that is not encouraged. Yeah, that's another matter entirely. Let's see. Covers the syllabus. You have the course outline. Some teachers, no, hold on. Some teachers will just teach 1, 2, or 3, especially in many public universities that are not well policed. At the end of the semester, when they do the exams, they give you exams in all the topics. And that is not good. That is not fair. That's not fair on the students. Many of them do that. But like I've heard you, that doesn't happen in Covenant. Is that true? So they cover the syllabus. Very good. Punctual in class, organized, and makes efficient use of time. Let me see, the last but not the least, no, let me take two more. Does not insult students. Yeah, so they do insult students. Very good. No, I can gauge the barometer of the volume of your, this desire, you know. So look, teachers, you are getting feedback from this lecture. We're saying doing what is right. So what your students are saying is that try to, be so nice to them. Don't abuse them too much. Because some of them can be something else. Appreciates and caters for diversity, including the physically challenged. Okay, now what are we doing with regard to that? What are we doing right? Now, we have a project, it's called the Virtual Institute for Higher Education in Africa, where we are providing pedagogic training to teachers regardless of the discipline. And a number of universities are setting up what we call Center for University Teaching. If that center is not already in place in Covenant, because that's what is happening now, that's doing what is right, I will encourage Covenant University, even if it's not a center standalone, it can be a program where our teachers will come periodically to update their knowledge and skills in how to deliver university education better. So doing what is right with inadequacy, recall that the second one is inadequacy of facilities. Doing what is right with inadequate facilities. First thing to do, conduct this assessment, like was done in Nigeria, 2012. We went to all the public universities to find out what the challenge is. So there was a gap analysis between where we should be and where we are, and there was quantification, that is finding out how much, the quantum of money that would take to address the challenge. And then you progressively remediate. And what I think, and what is being done in South Africa and a number of East African countries is, we know we cannot turn the whole place around in 5 years. So for year one, the first year, it's a phase plan. Take 1 or 2 universities and put quality buildings there. Renovate them. The following year, you do the same. The next year, you do the same. In 10 years, the African higher education landscape will take a new look. So that is doing what is right with regard to that. So we have also mentioned how we can do what is right with regard to poor attitude of students to work. Many students, not in Covenant, not in a number of private universities, but in public universities, they don't get note. They just have 1 or 2 sheets that they tuck in the back pocket of their jeans. Assignments, they will hardly do. Coming to class, especially if the class is large, they will hardly be there. But I'm told that in Covenant here, there are mechanisms for ensuring that you are in class and that you do assignment and that you do your projects. Is that true? Very good. So research capacity deficit, we have also talked about how we can improve research capacity deficit of university academics. Management efficiency, inadequacy of funding. Now let me move quickly to the last bit here, which is safety of lives and property in universities in Africa. In universities in Nigeria and in most part of Africa, when I say this safety, as I go along, you will see what I mean. Don't we ever think that the world out there, that we are in a cocoon, that the safety issue is not a big matter? Don't you ever think? The world is moving virulently into a state of violence, into a state, look, somebody, Roof, Dylan Roof, he went to a church in Charleston. If you saw the boy, who will ever think that that boy will be that vicious? Who will ever think? He wanted to go to Chancellor University to go and kill some black teachers and students there. But the boy changed his mind. The devil at work. He came to a church, attended Bible study. Just imagine somebody coming for Bible study and spent 1 hour hearing the word of God. And after that, bringing out his gun and killing people, killing the pastor, killing people like that. If you go to Maiduguri, University of Maiduguri, go everywhere. Things are changing. And the safety issue came up very strong at the meeting of vice chancellors about 3 weeks ago in Kigali. Professor Sam Ayonlaja, VC Crawford was there. Safety. So I want to dwell for just 1 minute or two on safety in higher education institutions in the northeastern part of Nigeria, southern Chad, southern Niger, southern Cameroon, in Kenya, in Tanzania, and in many countries in North Africa. The lives of students and staff are increasingly endangered by the violent activities of extremists. Danger looms, since it is predicted that such extremist tendencies will spike in the coming years. And so the management of universities should do what is right in preventing and taking coping actions. Safety in our universities has become a matter of global concern. I mentioned the case of Dylan Roof. Virginia Tech, you had a massacre there in 2007. Northern Illinois University shooting in 2008. Sandy Hook School 2012. June 5, last year, Seattle Pacific University, the killing of one student and wounding 2 others. These are examples from the US. Now let's go to France. In Toulouse, 23-year-old Islamic terrorist and anti-Semitic Mohamed Merah opened fire at a Jewish day school, killing 3 school children and a teacher. On February 3, 2014, in Moscow, a student, Sergei Godev, armed with 2 rifles, forced his way past security guard, took hostage and killed the geography teacher. He then killed a police officer and wounded another who arrived at the scene. In Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil, a former student of a university fatally shot 12 people in his school. In Kenya, here in Africa, last year, 147 undergraduate students of Garissa University were killed in an attack by militants. In South Africa, Naizi Eva, a 3rd-year computer systems engineering student, was killed at the Val University of Technology. In Ghana, across the road, Godwin Ayogu, a 300-level Nigerian student of the University of Cape Coast, was murdered. And we can talk about Tunde Adelabu, a Nigerian student in Lagenda University in Malaysia, who was also killed. So what is a safe school? What is a safe university? A safe university or a safe school is an educational facility where all members of the community, students, teaching and non-teaching staff, find the environment to be non-threatening and friendly for teaching and learning. Look, safety in this sense does not narrowly mean physical comfort, but extended to mean psychological safety. When you are being bullied, students, when you are being bullied, when people are harassing you, that is psychological, your psychological safety is threatened. So when I'm talking about safety in this lecture, I don't just mean protection, physical. I'm looking at it broadly. So how can our universities be made safe? There's no simple solution to this very complex problem, which is rooted in ideological, policy, and other contextual factors. The obnoxious and warped ideologies of jihadist groups, which abhor schooling of girls and women, cannot be demolished by a few trite statements of condemnation. The pervasive use of the internet has opened a new vista of cyberbullying by schoolmates, which has led to the death of many youngsters. Many kids have killed themselves on account of cyberbullying. What we can do is to suggest some minimum standards for safe school. Let's look at some minimum standards for physical and psychological safety. Physical safety standards will include at least 7 elements. These are physical screening of the university perimeter against intruders with installed and functioning. Mind what I've just said, functioning, because you can get the thing installed. And after 2 or 3 weeks or months of use, it will be get out of use. So it's functioning CCTV coverage. All areas within and outside the university are designed with safety in mind. Access into the school is controlled and visitors are monitored. I'm so happy about it here. You're coming through the gate there. You just can't come in anyhow. You are screened and you are monitored. And then safety problems are quickly reported and appropriately addressed by the university authorities. And then there should be an enactment of a safety policy. I don't know whether we have one here. It's important for this university to have a safety policy. And we're going to talk about a few elements of the safety policy. If you can check through the paper, you find a few elements of what should go into the safety policy. And then periodic awareness campaign and capacity building for teachers, students, and all of that. There are some other complementary steps that we should take. All visitors to the school should be monitored and provided with badges. Students and staff should be encouraged to report unfamiliar people. People you are not used to. This person looks very strange. And that's why you have these suicide bombers, you know, in all these places. They look strange. So if they are not quickly reported to the authorities, they can go ahead to commit a harm. Schools should install anonymous reporting systems such as hotlines and suggestion boxes. And at least every quarter, I'd like to suggest that happens here. Maybe every semester, you have a drill. Everybody, staff and students, you have a safety drill. Fire outbreak and receive training on emergency response. And I'm going to take towards the end now. Yeah, so that's about safety, which I think is what we should put some accent on. I'm coming to the closing part of the lecture, and I'm looking at Covenant University in relation to all the 12 challenges that we have listed for higher education in Africa. Let me tell you what, by the way, there is an ongoing study which will conclude by the end of next year. People have been wondering, what is the secret of the success of Covenant University? That reminds me of my friend, Professor Wale Ogundero, when we were in the University of Ibadan. When he said, Wale, how did you do this thing? He would say, on what the gramophone here? That is, you know, gramophone is that gadget that we used to have in those days that plays the phonograph record. So you wonder, where is this sound? Where is this noise coming from? And then if you now have to look for the noise, you are going to dismantle the gramophone and spoil it. So Goodwill, as they say, look, don't ask me why the gramophone here, he won't want to tell you what that thing is. So we want to find out what is making noise inside the gramophone of this Covenant University, why it is succeeding this much. The reason is that so that others, you can be the model, so that others can see the mechanisms, the pathways for your success. Because your goal is not to remain as a small island of light. You want to let your light shine. You don't want to put your lamp under the bushel. You want to put it for everybody to see. So that study is ongoing. Hopefully it will conclude at year's end, and they will probably, but based on some preliminary results that we're getting, let's take depreciating quality of higher education teachers. Now, what situation analysis in Covenant? CEU staff recruitment process is exemplary, followed by in-service capacity building. In other words, we have periodic training for your staff here. Then affiliation with Nobel Prize winners is a tremendous boost. Scorecard, is that pass or fail for that item? Very good. Number 2, inadequacies in facilities for quality teaching and research. That's what is found Africa-wide. What do we find here? One, Covenant University is one of the best resourced universities in Africa, with state-of-the-art and well-maintained facilities for quality teaching and research. The proprietor makes huge annual investment in upgrading facilities. What's your score here? No, let's grade it from A to F. F is failed, A to E. What's your score here? Yeah, A. You know, when we get to hear that Covenant University for a particular year has budgeted 2-point-something billion for the engineering laboratory or for a workshop and so on, most federal universities will just shiver because they don't get anything close to that. So proprietary investment in this university is huge. And Daddy, I must doff my cap and appreciate you, sir. Third one is poor attitude of students to work. CU students are imbued with core values of diligence and are not allowed to stray off the path of academic, moral, and spiritual uprightness and excellence. What is called? Yeah. You know, a CU student, there's no way you can stray. Not when you come here under a framework of you come for morning prayers. You are well taught in your school, in your class, and you are, you know, a lot of guideposts are here, you know, to keep you on the path of righteousness. Number 4, curriculum inadequacies to impart 21st century skills. In CU, the total man concept, are you still operating that? The total man concept undergirding the curriculum framework ensures that all CU students are largely prepared for the unknown world of the 21st century alongside their professional training. What's the score? Research capacity deficit. Research culture is promoted through competitive awards and grants. You set the pace now. When somebody has his article published somewhere, some money is made available and all of that. Capacity building for budding researchers. Your score is what? Poorly prepared students from the secondary level. That is what we have Africa-wide. So what happens here? The Living Faith secondary schools serve as models for better preparation for university education. What's the score there? I didn't hear your score. Okay. Number 7, slow adoption of ICT for delivering quality higher education. Here, your teachers are encouraged, whether they do it or not is a different matter, they are encouraged to utilize technology to deliver their as efficiency and effectiveness are the lodestones which guide management. Number 9, inadequacies in funding. Funding here is relatively generous, but more importantly for here, accountability, prudence, wise investment, and creative funding generation are hallmarks of the financial system of CU. What's the score? Very good. So my concluding remarks, Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in this lecture we underlined that the attainment of Agenda 2063 of the African Union as a roadmap for Africa's future will be severely hindered without a significant reorientation of the higher education delivery system in the region. We identified obstacles to higher education and made recommendations on how these obstacles can be pulled down at the regional, sub-regional, and national level. As I close, I wish to extend my congratulations to students who will be graduating tomorrow. I wish them well as they journey through life and pray for God's bountiful blessings and protection. Thanks to all the staff, teaching and non-teaching, who have made it possible for the realization of the dream of the students to obtain the coveted certificate of Covenant University. That certificate, why did you clap for your certificate as a coveted certificate? Talking about concluding remarks, you know, there was a teacher who wanted to conclude his science lesson by telling his students that drinking alcohol is bad for the body. He thought that just telling them by word of mouth, that may not sink. So he decided to arrange a little demonstration for his students. And he got 3 glasses, 3 tumblers, if you like. One, he put some earthworms inside the tumbler. The other, he had a tumbler of water. The third one, he had a tumbler containing some alcohol. And he had 2 empty tumblers. So he then asked one student, come. The student came. So what is this? Show the class. Oh, earthworms. What about this? Oh, this is water. What about this smell? Oh, this is alcohol. Okay. Now you take one of the empty tumblers, put some worms in the tumbler, and it did. I say, okay, pour some water on the earthworms. What do you think will happen? Yes, my students, what do you think will happen? This is a lecture now, in our class. Yes. The earthworms will swim and enjoy themselves. Not be so? Good. So he called another student, he go, say, come, take this, put some earthworms in the other empty tumbler. And she did. I said, okay, pour this alcohol on it. So the alcohol was poured on it. So what do you think will happen? I didn't hear you. Yeah, the earthworms in no time shrank and then died. And teacher was exceedingly happy that, yes, this is a good experiment. And yes, okay, my dear students, what conclusion can you draw from this experiment? Many hands were up, many hands were up. So they said, yes, okay, you. So this is a very simple experiment. It tells us that drinking alcohol is very good for our body because we have to kill all the worms in our tummy. So I'll be able to share with you some broad range of issues relating to higher education. So the conclusions are for us. Once again, I appreciate the honor. It's a big honor of the invitation to give this lecture. And may God continue to bless your efforts. Thank you.
That looks like an outstanding ovation. Can we do some more for Professor OKEBUKOLA? Please, you may be seated. We saw a teacher of teachers. We saw validation. We saw assessment. We saw the future of education in Africa. Indeed, what is right has been said. So we want to appreciate you one more time. At this point, it is only proper that the visionary of Covenant University, the one that God said, it is I, when the university was founded 21st of October 2002, and now see what the Lord has done. Can we, on your behalf, invite most respectfully the Chancellor of Covenant University, Dr. David Oyedepo, to please come for the Chancellor's remarks.
Thank you. Please, let's be seated. Let me first start by congratulating our guest lecturer on this occasion for a most exhaustive X-ray of the future of higher education in Africa. As ever, I was coming here prepared to be educated on how to improve on whatever little thing we are doing on our platform. And I have never been disappointed listening to you. I've always been blessed. I've always been enlightened and informed. And I'm glad that there is this consistency in developing the model for seeing a brand new Africa emerge as far as higher education is concerned. Once again, I'm blessed to listen to you. And I believe that the audience in this convocation lecture is equally blessed by the highly insightful and data-based communication that we just had. I've always believed that quality education is what determines the civilization of any people, any community, any nation. Wherever education goes, their civilization goes. There is no two-way about it. Africa once led in education, and that time she was leading in civilization. Later on, Greek got on the way and became the leader of education, and then civilization shifted. And then United Kingdom took it, and we find everything revolving around that tiny nation. Today, America got it. And it's clear that America is leading civilization. So there is no political solution to our development as a nation or as a continent, but there's an education position. There's an education, provision to change our story if we are truly interested. So quality education, in my view, remains the foundation for nation building and will ever remain so. I once gave a lecture here titled, Knowledge, the new currency of the world. That's not correct. It's ever been the currency of the world. It has always been the currency of the world. Today they call Africa a dark continent, but that was not so before. 2100 BC, Africa was on top in education. Europeans were sending their own citizens across to Egypt to be educated. All those feats just went away to political labalus. Nobody has any sense of direction as to where we are going. But the good news is this: steps are being taken, and we had quite a number of them today. Until Africa returns back to the need for quality higher education, will remain the object of mockery and shame to the nations around. This is why a number of us in this country, very many, are just panting for a new way of doing these things, to bring back the lost glory. The lost glory. And we can't do that wishing. We have to do that working at a new way of doing things. And I'm glad that a number of things have been put across to us today that will change our perspective to doing these things. It's not just holding a degree in your hand. It is holding values that you are out to add to your community, out to add to your nation, and in changing the entire scenario for a better Africa. Africa must come out of this shame and reproach, living on others, always looking for aid. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. There is this picture of this very tiny nation called Israel. Between 1901 and 2013, according to data, Nobel Prize has been awarded to about 855 laureates. 41% of all the Nobel Prizes have been won by Jews. And it's remarkable that Jews have been recipients of all 6 categories of the reward, of the award. That is responsible for the economic growth of that nation. As at 20,000, as 2000, the economy of Israel was stronger than United Kingdom. GDP standing at 17,500. And I don't have to tell you what Nigerian GDP is. Miserable, unthinkable, insulting, but real. Where is it coming from? From the depth of the quality education that that nation offers its citizenry. has the highest ratio of university degree holders to citizens of the nation, of any nation in the world. And from the Nobel laureate record, it shows clearly that they are not just about holding degrees, but digging out values and adding that to their communities. This is where we should be going to now in Africa. It's not all this stupid money people spend in politics. That won't change anybody's story. That won't change the story of our nation. It's time to do it right. You can't keep a university with 30,000 enrollment and give them chicken feed to run. To run what? I saw something on my table last night. I'm sure it's the Vice Chancellor who put it there. They need assessment data. I mean, you find stove in Nigerian universities, kerosene stove. Some of them bought by students for experiments. Going to where? Where are we heading for? Investment in education is dropping year by year, and nobody's going to bother. And now you see priorities that you can't even think that people who put such things together, use their intellect in any form. It's time to work at the changes we truly desire. I'm not the only one, but I love this nation with passion. I love this nation with passion. I know we must get it right. We're on the path of getting it right, but we must all join hands together, a little here, a little there, then we'll make a mighty, mighty mark on our nation. There must be change now, and this change must be in the right direction. There must be quality investment in promoting higher education. We are not going anywhere without that. I met a young man and the mother. They came to me this last week. And what was it? He wanted to go abroad. I said, to do what? He said, because of my family. I want to work and help them. I said, it's a lie. No, it's a lie. Okay, how much are you helping them now? Okay, what are you here for? I need some more money to go. I said, you are not going anywhere. Sit down here and prove it first. I give glory to God. There is no foreign input, not a dime, into Covenant University now. No foreign input. There is no foreign expertise imported in anything we have done till now, till this moment. It can be done. There is nothing mystical about excellence. It's simply a product of one's tireless commitment to improvement. Nothing mystical. There is nothing in a white skin. Nothing. It's all pigmentation. Tireless commitment to improvement. Tireless commitment to improvement. Abraham Lincoln said, I don't think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. We need that. A degree only makes you literate. It is the quality of your investment in literature that creates your future. A graduate today can become an illiterate tomorrow. A degree does not last more than 5 years in potency. So, but you have a generation of people that are not thinking of anything but money. They are not thinking of anything in their life but money. Money in the morning, money in the afternoon, money in the night. Okay, to do what with? It's time to think change. It's time to commit to being part of the change that we are looking for. It's time to show responsibility, that we can't keep waiting on others. When I look at Syria, it's gone. What are the nations of the world doing? You want to kill yourself, you are free. No other nation will take up your responsibility for you. No other nation. No other nation. If you know there's no other one coming to help you, why don't you wake up and help yourself? I want to speak to all our leaders in Africa, all political leaders. Those who think only election are not leaders. They are usurpers. It is those who think generations to come that are true leaders. A politician thinks somebody's head of the next election, but a true leader thinks of the next generation. Let's wake up. Some of us have spent some time here. I mean, time is running out on many of us. But a generation is coming. You have children. Your children have children. What nation would they find themselves in? What continent would they live in? Would they be slaves forever? If you put the ship here at the wharf and said, all PhD holders that want to be cleaners in America, come over, they will be running in droves. Because to be a cleaner in America, to him, is more dignified than being a palm sec in Nigeria. Lopsided value. Unbelievable value. My wife said to me many years ago in America, I said, I should get a security number. I said, no, I'm secured already. I mean, it was for free. Green card was free. You are not running around here and there. And you don't know the meaning of those things they are doing now, is to get cheap labor, which their own children won't do. And they have found some slaves who are willing slaves, so they just walk into it. In those days, they used chains to tie them. Today, each one ties himself. I say, I'm going. Nothing can stop me. Okay, going to do what? He doesn't know. And the guys there begin to sleep here and there under cartons. During winter, it freezes to death. Nobody can tell where it's coming from because it doesn't want to be part of the solution. I'm blessed to be a Nigerian. I will ever be a Nigerian. I will ever be an African. And I want to remain a part of the chain that this continent desperately needs. I was in Kenya 2 days ago, and then at the airport, at the protocol, they were asking me to sign. I said, let me read what I said in case you can't read my writing. And I said, I'm glad to be back home. Yes, a Nigerian by birth, but an African by election. Amen. I said, I'm therefore proud to be a Kenyan, and I will ever feel at home anytime I'm here. And all of them smiled and clapped and said, that's good for you. Africa needs its own people to effect the change we are looking for. I don't have respect for any degree except for the values that you bear. So, let's be value-driven. Let's be value-committed. Let's be generous in sharing values with one another. No doubt what has happened today will enhance the output for Covenant University, particularly as you study this management, you study this and see where you are not measuring well. You see, when I see a people score themselves so high, I get offended. I get offended. I have not found an area I can score myself A. I have not found it. So some of our staff the other time, they were talking about some people, how fantastic they performed. I said, I don't know what you mean. But what you are talking about now, I don't have more than C in it if I opt up to C. You can't score yourself too high and still improve. You can't improve. Well, you have scored already 90. What are you going to score again? So it's time to work on ourselves towards excellence that speaks. Excellence that speaks. Excellence you don't have to talk about. People will see it when they come in. 2001, when they came in for first, appraisal, something from NUC, they came to our old facility in town, and one of them commented after a week-long stay, he said, you know, we couldn't pick any piece of paper for one whole week. Is this Nigeria? That was in town. He said not even a wrapper of sweet on the floor, that they couldn't pick it throughout 1 week. These things can be done. Let me tell you what someone said when we were building that facility. He said, don't put water closet system for toilets. He said, they will spoil it. Nigerians will spoil it. I said, no. We have a set of people that have been equipped to believe in excellence and do it. And it's been there forever. Any level of person can walk in there and come out neatly without any feeling of anything odd, because it can be done. There is nothing in any color. Everything is a function of the content that you bear. And if you bear the right content, it will show wherever you go. So once again, we must all join hands together, including our young eagles that are graduating tomorrow. We must all join our hands to say Africa must bear a new identity. Nigeria must wear a new identity. A new set of values must rule our country. And then together, we can commit to quality higher education. I mean, our guest speaker, it's amazing to know that Nigerians spend close to 1.5 billion on fourth degree across the bridge there called Ghana. You can't believe it. You can't be looking for what? They don't even know what they need. Some Nigerians have no basis by virtue of the economic status forever to send any child to America. But status is indebted from day one to the last day, indebted. And unfortunately, some of these children return as drug addicts. What have you achieved? Nothing. It's time to start building values into what we have as a people, bringing the best in us out. There are too many private universities in Nigeria that are just on key. They are on key and thriving on daily basis to improve. We have no basis for all this waste. No basis for it. And you know, my friends in the West, they have a way of doing it. We are giving you a scholarship of 35%. And then what you have to pay remaining is £49,000. Where is the scholarship? I mean, because they know they can always play on you. Then you come and say, I just got some scholarship now, but I have 49,000. I say 49, what? How much do you have? Sit down, my friend. To go and do what? International relations. Okay. On what? Because I can't understand it. I can't understand it. You know, just get a child on key. Get him to be self-disciplined. You're bringing out the best in him. My old principal's daughter came to see me, now a mother of 3, and then he was talking to me about 1 or 2 things. And I said, ask your father when you get home, because I'm still very close to the family. The time we saw the first laboratory when we were in school. And yet, from that school came out professors in core engineering, in core sciences. I saw the first laboratory in my life in year 3. I saw the first thing called beaker towards the end of year 3. And yet, you have professors of chemical engineering in America, professors of medicine in UK, from that same class, from that same school. How? High-level discipline, sense of focus and mission, bringing the best in you out. I bought my first pair of shoes in year 3. Sense of responsibility. I hate to live on people. I took personal responsibility over the issue of my life. I believe the outcome of my life is my making. That's what we need to do. You can't throw your child somewhere for someone to help you train. You have lost them. You have lost them. Help me spread this message. We need to rethink and go for the best. Imagine if that $2 billion is invested in Nigeria, what that would mean to the economy. We're not talking about what goes to UK, nonsense money. You read it, you are offended. You are offended. What's this? Last year I read out a few things on Nigerian spending pattern. Our most wasteful nation. $492 billion on telephone recharge card in the year 2013. To do what? If you extract that by research to find out what was business content of it, it will be less than 20%, if it's ever up to. Hello? 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 Yeah, I'm coming. You hold on, hold on. Hello? Yes. I'm on the line to China now, but I asked him to hold on. So what is it? I just want to find out how you are doing. Okay, I'm fine. What of your father? Your mother? Your uncle? Okay, hello? Hold on. Are you China? Hold on. It's time to rethink, and the time to rethink is now. It's time to be value-oriented in what we do. And what came out of it? Nigeria spends more money on telephone recharge than they spend on food. This country. And you say they're educated. Educated how? Educated people are always well-planned people. They know what they are spending, they know why they are spending it. Over time, you just hello, hello, hello. You'll find little children have telephone in their hand. Please, when you're on break, call me. Hello, is that mommy? Mommy? Just to say I'm fine, but I need some cookie. When you're coming. Things must change, and we must be part of that change by changing our approach. Show that we are intelligent. Show that we know where we're going. And keep going there at the cost required. In no time, we'll soon be there. Once again, thank you for coming. That's my bit of comments.
Please, we may be seated. I cannot add any more thing to what the Chancellor has said. Thank you, sir. At this point, we'd like to invite the Vice Chancellor for the next assignment. The Vice Chancellor, sir.
Thank you. I want to start by appreciating the guest speaker of today for a well-researched paper, a teacher indeed. On behalf of the entire Covenant University community, sir, we are most delighted to have you. Again, looking at the book of Proverbs 25:11, a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. Let's put our hands together once again for the speaker of today. Remember, I did mention during my welcome speech that I was sure we're going to get the scorecard of how well we have fared on our quest towards the fulfillment of Vision 10 2022. And not only that, to take us around by way of informing us about the current trends all over the world. Having listened to him, I want to congratulate my colleagues, faculty, staff, and students for outstanding looking at the scorecard just presented. Put your hands together for yourself. But let me add that we are not there yet. We've always learned from the Chancellor that the reward for hard work is more work. So there's no point resting on our oars. All we need to do is to put in more effort to ascertain, as predicted by the guest speaker, that we are there shorter than expected. It is on this note I want to invite the registrar to kindly come up here with the... And I want to humbly request Professor Peter OKEBUKOLA to kindly step forward for this presentation. Thank you, sir. As usual, it's always been a delight having you here because we know you situate things properly for us and chart the way forward towards the speedy accomplishment of Vision 10 2022. Therefore, on behalf of the Board of Regents of Covenant University, the entire management staff and students, I hereby present this to you as a token of our appreciation for a job well done.
At this point, we like to recognize some persons that have come to be part of this 10th Convocation Lecture. We like to note that the Governor of Ogun State is here represented at this meeting, talking about Senator Ibukunle Amosu. Can I recognize the representative of the Governor of Ogun State, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Gabriel Odeni. I'd like to also note that the Executive Secretary, NUC, is also represented here. Can I also recognize Professor Peter Onwalu to please? Thank you, sir. We also have some of the members of our Board of Regents here present. Can I recognize Professor Irene Agunloye? You're welcome, Dr. Joan Aguloye. We have the representative of the Koren here in our midst, Professor John Olorumaye. The Secretary of the Board of Regents, Landmark University, Assistant University is also present here, Barrister Temidayo Esheyi. We also have the Registrar of Bells University of Technology, Mrs. Yemisi Badebo, here present. The representative of the Vice Chancellor, University of Maiduguri, all the way from Maiduguri, Professor Shodipo Adebayo, is also here. We also have, in no particular order we are giving this, Engineer Jide Shoyemi from the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro is also present here. We'd like to also welcome Professor Jonathan Aremu. You're welcome, sir. At the time, our acting Vice Chancellor in Covenant University. You're welcome, sir. We also have here present from Institute for African Culture and International Understanding, Mr. Olufemi Adebayo. As usual, the Vice Chancellor of Crawford University has always been here. I'm not surprised because the Pro-Chancellor or the Chairman of Council is also present here. Can I recognize Professor Ayalaja? You're welcome, sir. We like to recognize the presence of the Chancellor, Literal University, Port Novo, Professor Oyebode Ayeni. What a joy, our former Registrar of Covenant University and now the Registrar, Landmark University is also present here, Dr. Daniel Rotimi. We like to also recognize our former Director, Cesar, he is present here, Pastor Mike Ogbolochi. Present here too, we have Mrs. Adelu Adejoke, proprietress of Great Destiny Model School. You're welcome. Again, from Anambra State Federal College of Education, Mrs. Mbonu Adaobi. We have the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers present here, Engineer Ademola Olorufemi. Another lecturer from Bells University of Technology, Professor Akimbode, is also present. A magistrate from Ekiti, all the way from Ekiti State Judiciary, Mrs. Temitokbe Bankole, is also present here. The Director of Academic Planning Unit of Bells University of Technology, Dr. Akin Adioye, is in our midst. We also note that some of the members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers are also present here. Engineer Akintola and Engineer Ola Taiwo, who is the chairman of the NSC in Apapa branch. We know that our pressmen are also present here, and so we like to recognize and welcome all of us, members of the fourth estate of the Realm, who are here present. And we want to note that we're going to project this event in the different media. We like to welcome you. At this point, we like to call on two of our very distinguished guests that we have here, starting from the NUC representative, the Executive Secretary representative, I had earlier recognized. Can we welcome, to give us a goodwill message, the rep of the Executive Secretary, NUC, Professor Peter Onwalu.
The Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and the other principal officers of the university, the guest lecturer, and let me recognize the #1 engineer in Nigeria, my president, before my certificate is withdrawn, Engineer Olorunfemi. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've been blessed this morning more than any other person, with due regards to the Chancellor, for listening to two great men. First, the guest lecturer, and then the second is the Chancellor himself. I bring you greetings from the Executive Secretary of National Universities Commission, Professor Julius Okoje. Actually, he sent me on 2 assignments, and yesterday he called me and said, "Where are you?" I say, "I'm in another location." He said, "What is happening with Covenant?" I say, "I will be at the convocation on Friday." He said, No. I hope you are not speaking where you are." I said, "No, I'm just representing you." He said, "Leave that place and make sure you attend the lecture before the convocation." And I'm not surprised. I said, "Okay, yes, sir." And that's why I'm here this morning. Otherwise, because of the other assignment, I would have been here just tomorrow. And I'm really delighted. Of course, I didn't expect anything less from the guest lecturer, being a former Executive Secretary of National Universities Commission. You can not expect anything less from what you've gotten. He has actually given a scorecard for Covenant University. Well, being a former Executive Secretary, I think I can safely say that we can adopt this we can adopt this assessment that he has done, because no other person can do it better, even those of us that are on ground. But even before I came here, I know that we've been reviewing the private universities of recent, because we are under intense criticisms and pressure that it appears the National Universities Commission is licensing too many private universities. But I want to tell you that in our own assessment and from what we do, Covenant is one of the universities we use to justify what we are doing. And just like the Chancellor has told us, these things can be done. And so those who criticize the establishment of private universities, we are happy that at least we have 1 or 2 cases we can say, okay, go to this place and look and see what is going on there. That some others are not doing what they should be doing does not mean that the concept of private universities or giving access and quality education to young Nigerians is not right. So I want to assure you that the National Universities Commission is behind you in whatever aspects of the work you are doing that requires giving you the kind of support in terms of looking at what you are doing and giving you external assessments. Like the Chancellor already said, when you score yourself, it's also good to have you scored by others. And as I bring you the good news or the good tidings and greetings from the National Universities Commission, I can only support what the Chancellor has already said. In fact, when he said the last thing he said, I looked at the notes I jotted, and what I jotted, the last 2 things I wrote was, before he spoke, was that you need to ensure sustainability and continuous improvement. I must say that I'm delighted to be here. This is the first time I'm coming physically here, but I've been following the trend of what is going on here. And the first impression I got, I came in here in the night after about 2 hours between the airport and here. The first impression I got was from the gates, everywhere was lighted. And I was wondering, is there maybe a convention or something going on? But of course, I saw that that was normal. And you can hardly find this in any Nigerian university, that lighting is there. These are things you take for granted, but it gives you an idea of what is below. This is what you see, and therefore, even arriving here in the night, I was comfortable. I wasn't worried about my safety or anything. And talking about safety on campuses. So I want to encourage you to do more. Maybe unknown to you, you are actually a shining model for others. And we'll continue to use you to give example to others. I'm aware that even in the case of the centers of excellence that we announced recently, that Covenant was one of the private universities, and in fact, was even number one, putting everybody together. And so I can only say you should keep it up. And I want to especially tell the Chancellor, the last message that the Executive Secretary gave me is that we need people like this. Most people are saying government should do this, government should do that, and it's obvious to us that the work of educating young Nigerians is beyond what government can do. And so we need people like the Chancellor to continue to do what they are doing. They should never get tired of us. When I say us, I mean the Nigerian system. God has given him the wisdom and the strength, and I believe that God will continue to give him that wisdom and strength to do even more for the younger generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That was the representative of the Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, Professor Julius Okogie. At this point, His Excellency, the Governor of Ogun State, is here represented. Can we welcome the representative of the Governor of Ogun State, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, to please come for a goodwill message.
Good morning, the Chancellor, the guest lecturer, or the guest lecturer of today. I bring you congratulations from His Excellency, Senator OKEBUKOLA Musun. He has not been able to be present because of conflicting state duties. He would have loved to be here. I wish to congratulate this university on the successful hosting of this year's 10th anniversary convocation. Also, I wish to congratulate you on your recent global ranking as the leading university in Nigeria and one of the best in Africa. This is no mean feat, but it's not surprising, considering the vision at inception of being a foremost university in Nigeria that drives manpower in the direction of self-employment, character molding, research, and service to humanity. I also like to recognize the guest lecturer, Professor OKEBUKOLA. He's really done a wonderful job. The title of the lecture is very, very apt and very, very relevant because today, education in Africa is really at a crossroad. Like, as we noted, we are burdened by a lot of obsolete and dilapidated infrastructure, poor human capacity development, and actually poor linkage connection with the academic world. Also, we have problem with funding because the donor agencies, particularly the foreign donors, are getting tired. They are now saying we should take our destiny in our hands. So we really need to look inwards. And that is why the result of this recent ranking has really justified, has shown that this university has been able to overcome all these problems. It's obvious that from the ranking, so many things are taken into consideration in terms of networking with the academia, in terms of funding, and it's obvious that when you even come here, you see that it's really a different scenario entirely. It's like being out of this world. So we say kudos to the staff, the students, and the entire management staff of this university for this really landmark achievement. On its part, the state recognizes that education is a catalyst that drives all other sectors of the economy. And also, the SLS believes that we can only be successful if we create an enabling environment and let the private sector drive the economy. That's when we could move forward as a nation and as a continent. And like I said, this order has been able to really achieve something that is sustainable. And in fact, they have gone further to project another vision for 2010, That is in the, So that shows that they are really focused, and that really shows that they are really focused. On our part in the state, on assumption of this administration, we know that, like the first remark, one of the earlier remarks by the lecturer was that maybe there are some, the quality of people entering universities is very, very, very poor. So we have really gone as far as revamping education right from the primary to the secondary level. What we do is that we are renovating all our secondary schools and primary schools. We are building model schools because we feel that pupils should learn in a very conducive environment. So we are building 20 model schools, one in each local government, with state-of-the-art facilities. And also, education is free, textbooks are given free in public schools. And we are now going to the higher education to revamp the sector. I want to believe that with the roadmap, that is the 2063 roadmap set by the African Summit in March this year, and the lecturer has really done a very exhaustive job during the lecture, because we have to face realities. We have to tailor the training universities to the labor market, so there should be linkage between the labor market and the university academia, so that when our graduates come to the market, we get the jobs they are trained for. Also, now we need our students to come out, and that's why the university has really focused on entrepreneurship. We need students that will come out, create their own jobs, and be leaders in the society. So this is a very, very important area which this has really focused on, and we really commend them for that. Once again, I will end my by saying that I thank the entire workforce of this university, right from the Chancellor to the Vice Chancellor to all the deans and the entire students for doing a very, very good job. I wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors.
Please, can we clap some more for the representative of the governor of Ogun State? Maybe to also note that Ogun State has the highest number of universities in this country. We like to, at this point, invite the Registrar of Covenant University to move a vote of thanks and to also give some convocation announcement. The registrar.
The Chancellor, sir, I stand on already established protocols. On behalf of the management of Covenant University, we'd like to appreciate everyone who has attended this convocation lecture. I'd like to, on the behalf of management, celebrate our Chancellor and appreciate you, sir, for your leadership, for being a role model, for being a coach, for being our mentor, for being our guide. We have been baptized into your values. That's why we do not seek to be VIPs, very important personalities. We seek to be VAPs, value-adding personalities. We'd like to also celebrate the Vice President of Education for your unflinching support for all our programs, all the counsels that we get, makes us excel all of the time. Thank you, man. The Lord bless you indeed. Members of the Board of Regents here present, the strategic direction you give us is the reason why we are making impact. The strategic direction you give us is the reason why we are bringing forth solutions. And we trust God that as we release this next set of eagles, we'll be adding more salt to the soup of Nigeria and making it sweeter in Jesus' name. To our guest lecturer, thank you for the delivery with sagacious audacity. Indeed, we are delighted that you have treated us to a stimulating meal, and we are sure that in future, when you come back to assess our university, what you will see will be an improvement, and you will still see yet more that will take us even further. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. For all our invited guests, from far and near, thank you for being witnesses to the process of rebuilding, transforming the educational landscape in Nigeria. We may be at the forefront, but we are doing this because God sent us. We're also doing this because we want to be a light that others will see to chart their path. Thank you for being witnesses at this occasion. In future, when the roll call is called, you will let the world know we didn't get there by chance. We got there by working hard, and we will indeed prevail in Jesus' name. To the members of the press, you are platform holders for the dissemination of information. We thank you, and we trust that you use this platform, these events, use your platform to let the world know what we expect to see in future and what we are already doing in Covenant University. I'd like to celebrate members of the university community, faculty, staff, and students. We are not the now generation. Our university is a future-ready university. Future-ready faculty, future-ready staff, future-ready students, future-ready, admirable set graduates. Thank you all for coming, and we trust that the remaining events of this convocation will indeed validate that Covenant University is raising a new generation of leaders in all fields of human endeavor. As we close in this lecture, permit me to let you know the remaining proceedings for today. Right after now, we will be having the launch of the telemedicine project of the university at the Covenant University Health Center. We expect that all our guests will join us. Immediately after that, the cocktail will be holding at the University Library, the Center for Learning Resources. And by 12 noon, at the African Leadership Development Center, is first of its kind, the university will be hosting over 100 organizations to an industry partnership luncheon, where we'll be seeing how we can marry town with gown and take away the frown on people's faces. We'd like all our students to know, for those who have not picked up their gowns, please see the Student Affairs Office for all of that. By 2 p.m. today will be the college hooding ceremonies at the various locations earlier stated. And by 6 p.m., we'll be having a cultural night and a variety night. We expect all to be gorgeously dressed, to be treated to the talents that God has managed to give us in Covenant University. We're delighted and we trust that the remaining proceedings will be fulfilling and rewarding for every one of us. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, the Registrar. As we close, we'd like to invite our father in the faith, our Chancellor, to please close us.
Shall we rise to pray? Our Father and our God, we thank you for the success of the 10th Convocation Lecture that we just had. And thank you for the impact this has left on our lives. And thank you for the impact this has left on the Covenant University. And we pray for all of our parents of our students who are here, all invited guests who are here, that each one will be blessed in their return. We pray for a hitch-free event today, tomorrow, that all of the proceedings will go on smoothly, and your name, O Lord, will be glorified. Thank you, Lord. And Lord, bless our guest lecturer today with more insight, more grace, more strength, to keep doing what you have ordained him to do, and to keep doing it better by the day. Thank you for our university. We thank you because you are taking us to next levels. As we learn more and apply them, we go further. Let it be our portion, and may all of the accolades here that people confer on this university, we return them all to you as the one behind it. Take all the glory, Lord, in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
The CU band will give us the CU anthem, and after the Chancellor's position will be exiting.
Flying on covenant wings, it's a sky for change, inspired its courage, marching on in the I will show for glory, covenant celebration, like time no leg to stand, glorious. To realism, breeze of stars will change this mind of fun, courage marching in grace God's
Thank you, the band, as the Chancellor's procession will be exiting.